Hi, everyone. So my name is Serena. As Edgardo said, I will be teaching module number 6, I think, at least the last edition was number 6, which is social media for travel journalists. So this is my second edition of the master. I had the pleasure to also teach the master last year, and it was a great experience. And what is crazy is that I know I'm the one that is teaching, but at the same time, while doing this, I also learned a lot of things and just like, talking to the other students and interacting with them brought a lot of value to me as well as the other classes of the master, which I had access to as well. It's just so full of information. And of course, because social media is my job, but the master is much broader than that, covers much more. So obviously, I absolutely recommend it. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and like my story, if that makes sense. So my name is Serena. I am based in London. I am originally from Italy. I moved to London 6, 7 years ago now for a master's that had nothing to do with social media. And I am now a full-time food and travel content creator. So the main social media for me is Instagram, and I have this page called London Ultimate Guide, which is where I create all the content, London focused, but also elsewhere. And as I mentioned, the niche is food and travel. So I am also a UGC creator, which I will tell you what that means in just in the next hour. And then I have been doing this job full time for only 3 years now, approximately. And in 2023, 2024, I was able to generate over 100,000 British pound in income, in revenue, which is incredible. And I have worked with a bunch of brands, including tourism boards, travel destination management companies, hotels, restaurants, and just like airlines and so much more, which is the dream. But as I said, this has not always been my job. So first of all, initially I was working in the sustainability industry. I studied languages in university. Then I spent 1 year in New York being an au pair. So, being in like a family, like a very rich family, helping taking care of their kids. And this is where I would say I really like perfectioned my English and just had a little bit of a chance to travel. And then I went to, I came back to Europe to do a master in sustainability for the food industry. So I never studied anything about social media. I never thought of myself as a creative person. I had zero experience in photography, video editing, absolutely nothing, zero professional equipment. And so I was working for like a food company in London. However, I did not like my job. I was very depressed. I did not like going to the office every day. Just being in an office from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., not being able to travel, not being able to be flexible. And basically what happened is that back in 2020, during lockdown, like many other people, I was put on furlough, which means that you still get paid by the government, but you're not working because you couldn't go to the office. So it was a time where I had a lot of time on my hands. And what I did for fun, I started this Instagram page called London Ultimate Guide, which when I started it, there was only photos. Reels didn't existed. So it was just photos. And my idea was just to take some photos around London and create a page about London, but just like for fun, right? And then with time, this transformed into starting to film, record, and creating videos and photos of the restaurants that sometime I was going to, and just like things to do, the things I was doing in London. And this opened so many doors for me. Like I will never forget when one restaurant messaged me on Instagram and they told me, "Oh, I really like your page. We would like to invite you for a meal in our restaurant in exchange for a video." And for me, that was like mind blowing. So I was like, wait, I can get like a free meal for like just taking some photos of what I'm eating and posting about it. And I can bring like a friend with me. That's amazing. So that already seemed amazing. And then with time, I learned that I could actually make money with this and I could get paid for creating videos about places I was going, visiting, and like things I was eating, these sort of things, right? But that took a long journey because I didn't know any other creators. So I didn't know that this could be a job. I didn't know you could get paid. So initially, when I decided to quit my job in the office, was about 2022, between 2022 and 2023, because I was just like a little bit depressed. I was experiencing a lot of panic attacks and these sort of things. Of course, I didn't have a plan B, and I was making zero euros with this page. I didn't know what to do. So luckily, I came across a platform which is called Join My Trip. It's a German startup, German platform where basically you can become a travel leader, a trip leader is called. It's free. You become a trip leader. You follow like a 2 hours course about some rules or whatever. And then you can create an itinerary, price your itinerary, your trip, and then sort of sell it so that people can come, they can buy your trip, they can join your trip, and you take them on a trip with you. You act a bit like a tour guide, sort of, or like a friend to go on a trip with. And so I started taking small groups of people, mainly Australians that were living in London, to Italy for like wine tasting and sort of things. And I was making money out of it because you price the trip at a certain amount, but of course you're going to add a little bit more that is going to be your commission, so the money that you will retain as your sort of salary. And in parallel with that, I received my first ever request for a paid collaboration thanks to this Instagram page, which was from like an Indian restaurant in London. They wanted to pay me, I think, £200 for a video. And for me, it seemed like so much money. I was like, oh my God, if I can make £200 for a video, if I do a video, 2 videos per week, that's already like some good money. Now, fast forward to today, we will see in one of the lessons on how to monetize social media and how to price yourself. I can make £2,000 to £3,000 for one video, which is incredible and mind-blowing. And I owe it everything to other creators that I was able to speak with, and you're learning so much along the way. So it is possible to make a living out of social media, out of your passion, which is, I suppose, traveling if you're joining this master. And of course, social media is only one part of the whole picture if you want to become a travel journalist. So if you like writing, for example, I am not a journalist. I am not much of a writer, hence why I teach only the social media segment. So what I think social media represents for travel journalists is it could function as a sort of like window for what could be maybe then your travel blog, or if you have articles published somewhere, you could use social media as sort of like a window shop where you can give like a glimpse of what you're going to talk about more in depth somewhere else, maybe in your personal, again, in your blog or wherever you will, maybe a travel magazine or anything, whatever is going to be your outlet for a more in-depth work on a certain destination. But social media is a really great place where to start and where to showcase, excuse me, I'm a little bit sick, part of your work. And of course, social media can open so many doors and opportunities. So basically, let me switch to the next slide. I wanted to ask you, where do you guys get your travel inspiration from? And when I say travel inspiration, I mean both when you decide what your next destination is going to be, but also once you've decided, once you have selected a destination, where do you find inspiration for like what activities you're going to do, what food and what restaurants you want to visit and you want to eat, what specific places, museums and like beaches you want to go, right? So I put some options down below with the numbers. Number 1, for example, social media. Number 2, traditional travel magazine, TV documentaries, travel blogs, friends recommendation, billboards. Sorry, it's very loud outside. Let me close the window. Okay, I think it's not allowed anymore. Billboards or anywhere else. So if you want to like maybe pop in the chat, maybe one or two out of this that it's okay. So if you want to write in the chat, maybe the main two sources where you draw travel inspiration from. And if it's elsewhere, maybe you can also tell me like where, elsewhere, because I'm curious as well. Google Maps, I love that. I do that too for restaurants. Okay. If you guys are putting 6, it would be great to know where. Okay, Google Earth. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so I love that you guys are mentioning 3 because I'm old. Travel. I love that. It's fine. From the sports I practice. So the spots famous in these sports. Oh, okay, that's super interesting. So thank you for your input. First of all, I wanted to touch real quick the topic of Google Maps because I do it as well a lot. First of all, I'm 29 years old. I'm turning 30 next week. So I am millennial going into Gen Z, sort of. And for me, Google Maps is so big when it comes to restaurants. So when I go to a place, I already selected a place. Of course, I will like check out all the restaurants on Google Maps, and I usually base my research on like I want to eat nowhere that it's at least rated 4.5, like minimum, right? 4.5, 4.7 or so. So and then I save all the little places. So I definitely do use Google Maps as well. But also, at least for me, I wanted to reply to this question myself as well. I use social media quite a lot when it comes to travel inspiration, and especially in two ways. So, for example, I remember a year ago, I was just like seeing so many videos on social media about Japan. And within the space of like 9 months, I just picked Japan as my next destination, not from one specific video, but from just seeing so many wonderful videos on Instagram about that place. And I just wanted to visit so badly. And then once I decided to go to Japan, so I booked my trip to Japan, I then used the social media also to pin down like more specific places within Japan and like save a few restaurants, a few experiences that I wanted to experience. But also for me, I'm really big still on travel blogs, maybe because, social media, it's only been out there for like the way we use it today, maybe 5 years or so. Again, reels were not a thing until 4 years ago. TikTok came out during lockdown. So before then, whenever I had identified a destination to travel, I would then do my research using travel blogs. So I would type literally on Google like top 10 things to do in Poland, or like I don't know, maybe Poland is a bit broad, but like in Warsaw. And I would just like check out all those blogs where travel bloggers would write down the best things to do in a certain destination. And nowadays I still use that. But then, for example, my brother, which is born in 2002, so he's 23, completely Gen Z, he tells me that he never reads travel blogs. He only exclusively uses social media, YouTube a lot, but also Instagram and TikTok to draw inspiration for his travels, right? And then, of course, friends' recommendation. I think pretty much everyone uses friends' recommendation as well. If my best friend just came back from a trip and tells me, oh my God, I just been to the most beautiful island in Greece, you should totally go. Of course, I will take into consideration her opinion, especially if I know her style, I know what she likes, and if it's very similar to mine, I'll take into consideration that as well. However, what I don't think applies to me is billboards. To be honest, I think for brands it's so expensive to pay for a billboard, but I don't think that I was ever convinced to travel to a single destination thanks to like just a billboard in the middle of like at the bus stop that I'm waiting for. Whereas for travel magazines, my mom is like obviously the older generation. She's obsessed with travel magazines. So I've always had travel magazines lay around the house, and I would like go through them and see beautiful pictures. But for some reason, whenever I saw like incredible photos of incredible places, like white sand beaches in Bahamas or whatever, for some reason, it's always felt like an unreachable destination, like too far away, too expensive to get to, it looks too picture perfect, right? And so it didn't feel very relatable as a place to be. So let's go to the next slide for why I asked you this question. Of course, it's because I think right now we are in the era of social media. And as I mentioned before, Gen Z uses social media pretty much for everything, including ChatGPT, although it's not a social media, but just like to ask for anything. And tourism boards, airlines, hotels, DMCs, and DMOs, they know this. They understand that social media promotion establishes a more personal connection with the user. A lot of times for them, it's easier to pay a content creator, a travel creator like me or like you, to create very valuable content instead of spending £100,000 for a billboard in Times Square for like a month or whatever, right? And most importantly, they understand, because there's so much research behind it, that it's a very powerful social media promotion through social media can be very powerful and effective, because if we follow a specific creator that we can relate with, that we like their style, we like their personality, their tone, and the things they recommend, we just feel almost as if it was a friend recommending us a certain destination, a certain hotel to stay at, right? So we feel more connected. I also think it's very easy to save maybe some videos and divide them into split them into like sort of folders on social media if you want to go back to that specific activities that you saw doing in Japan. Even if your trip is 2 years from now, you can go back to that video that you saved, maybe more easily than going back to like, I don't know, a travel magazine that you bought 2 years ago. And also with social media, I think that with a social media campaign, for example, there are some more concrete results and measurable metrics that also these tourism boards and brands can use to understand if a video is really successful, because of course you have likes, you have saves, you have shares, you have comments, how much people interact with the video, engagement. And it's true that you will never know out of, if let's say a video was saved by 1,000 people, you will never know if those 1,000 people actually then booked the flight to that specific destination you were promoting. But however, as for me, I was convinced to go to Japan in a year. At some point, you might book the specific destination even months later, but just because you saw that one specific video. Or maybe a year later, you will book Japan and you will remember that one restaurant that you saw from a specific content creator, and you will want to book it, even if it's not in the moment, but it's later on. That's still very powerful promotion, in my opinion. So because all these tourism boards and entities in the tourism and hospitality business, they know about this, what they do is that they allocate a budget every year for this kind of promotion. And it can be also a big budget. And the way that they usually have as content creators as well as travel journalists visit a destination and promote a destination, they can either organize press trips for a group of people. So they will ask me, you, another 3 travel bloggers, and another 2 journalists to join a trip that they organize to a specific destination, let's say Montenegro. They cover all the expenses, and you will travel to that destination, and they will ask you in return to write maybe an article on your blog, or if you get sent by a travel blog for which you write for, or a travel magazine, then they will send you to this destination and create what you have to create, but you get to experience this wonderful trip for free. And a lot of times you also get paid, because of course, don't forget that it's amazing to get free trips free meals, free whatever. But at the end of the day, you cannot pay your rent with just like a free meal. So of course you have to be able to make money out of it, and never really work for free. It's important. Brands sometimes will try to get you to work for free, but it's important that we understand that it's work and they make you gain a lot, you make them a lot of visibility, and so it's important not to do work for free. But we will see this later on in the actual course during the master. And by the way, the kind of money that they allocate for this kind of promotion to pay content creators, influencers, and travel journalists, when it comes about a tourism board, this is taxpayers' money. This is the taxes that you pay in your country to the government. Part of that will be used to pay influencers to go to visit that destination and pay them to create content, right? And of course, when you're the kind of audience that you have, it's also important for a travel board. When before organizing a trip, a press trip, they will ask you, they will have to gather some data about who is your audience. For example, me, of course, I'm based in London. I have a strong British audience, which is important. It's a good audience because British people have money to travel. So the opportunities are amazing. But don't let this discourage you, because even if you live in the middle of, I don't know, Portugal, which is obviously is still an amazing country, or Greece, but of course people have less money to spend on when traveling. That doesn't mean anything. You can still make a job out of it. So in 2024, the global travel blogging market was valued almost at 5 billion US dollars, which is so much. And there's a piece for everyone. So how can you get a piece of that pie? By trying to get into this industry. You will hear people saying there is a full market, is a saturated market. I don't believe it's true, because everyone has their own style. It's up to you, of course, to make it work, especially if you want to become like self-employed and like work for yourself and be the boss of yourself. But if you persevere, if you are like consistent, especially when it comes to social media, we will learn how consistency is super important, and patience. But you can also get a piece of this pie and possibly make your passion your living and your actual job. So what we're actually gonna learn throughout the course. So we have 6 lessons together. Each lesson is about an hour long, plus 10 to 15 minutes to ask questions, discuss what we learned throughout the lesson. There will be also some assignments that I will give you just to develop and put into practice what we've been learning during class. And the first lesson will be about, we will learn about all the types of social media for travel journalists. So with this analysis, you should be then able to pick maybe 1 or 2 social media that are right for you. And why? Because you don't have to be on every single social media out there. Nobody expects you to be on every social media and be successful at it, because it's not realistic. So even myself, obviously, Instagram for me is the main one. However, I wanted to be super successful on TikTok and on YouTube as well. And then I realized that it wasn't really possible unless you have a team of people behind you that helps you out. That's amazing. For me, Instagram takes up a lot of time for me. And so it's already good enough that I'm able to make TikTok work as well. I really wanted to have a YouTube channel, but I realized that it's just so much, it's so time consuming. Editing content for YouTube takes much more time and many more skills, in my opinion, than like Reels on Instagram. It's a different format. It's a different type of content. If you want to do a landscape long format video on YouTube, you actually have to film, maybe twice your content, because for Instagram, of course, it's vertical. And then for YouTube long form, you have to film horizontally. And it seems like, small details, but then you only have two hands, and I don't have any assistant. I work completely alone. I edit everything. I reply to email. I pitch brands. I go to travel fairs by myself, and I cannot do everything. So again, you don't have to be on every kind of social media. You don't have to do all at once. You can pick one or two that really work for you, depending on your, your skills, the type of content that you like to create, your tone of voice, and just like other criteria that we're going to look at more in depth, of course, throughout the lessons. Then we will go on the second class together. We will look at brand personality archetypes. Of course, when starting from scratch and becoming a creator can be a bit overwhelming on social media. So it's important to try to give yourself a couple of like guidelines to shape a good personality that you can be consistent with, that your audience can identify you by easily. And this obviously is the type of content you're going to create, the format, maybe the tone of voice you're going to use, the color palette, and there's just a bunch of stuff that we're going to see in details in order for you to then define your brand personality and style, which is good for the audience, but it's also good for you because it makes it easier in your head, the vision and the type of content that you will want to create. Because again, it's not that you're not gonna post about every single thing that you do in your life. So having a clear brand personality archetype in your head makes all of this a little bit easier. There's like, spoiler, there's like 10 of them or so, or like 12. Actually, I think there's 12. And it's really interesting to analyze each one of them. I will also pair I will give you for each archetype a few examples of content creators that are really successful so that you can take inspiration as well from them and see what you can relate to and what you would like to achieve. And yes, this is lesson number 2. We will then, the following week, I'm really sorry, guys. I'm a little bit sick. That's why I cough and then I have to drink water. Flor says, I would like to become your assistant. Thank you. I mean, that would be great. Maybe one day I will start. I just love working alone. I don't know. It's the kind of this is why also I was suffering working in an office. And like, how during an interview you always say, oh, yes, I'm a great team player. I gotta be honest, it's not for me. Like, I just love working by myself and being the boss of myself. And so this is why this job is perfect for me. As I was saying, the following week, we will look at monetizing social media, which of course is one of the most important things. This is why the lesson is quite long. This is why I'm going to split it between part 1 and part 2. And we will see all the different ways that you can monetize social media. There's many. Again, you don't have to do all of them. You will have to experiment around and like play around to see which one are right for you and which one work for you. Also depending on maybe where you're based in the world, what's the market like where you live, and all these kind of things. And so, of course, when you learn how to monetize social media, you can actually maybe finally make a real living out of this job. And the second part of the monetizing social media will be a bit different because we're going to look at some of the essential tools that you need to have as a creator, as a travel journalist, just like as a self-employed, in order to appear professional, to also appear organized, and just like, to stand out among the crowd. So, for example, we will see how to create a media kit. We will see what is a media kit in case you don't know what that is. We will see how to pitch brands, what kind of events you can attend in order to have more opportunities. And there's just so much stuff out there. So this is a really important class. The week after, and then the next class will be social media analytics and metrics for travel journalists, which is basically we will learn how to make the best of the data that you have available on your professional dashboard. So we will see we will look at all the different kind of accounts and settings that you should have on your social media, active, non-active, and what works best for a creator. You will see how to create a content calendar, so how to be consistent in posting content and what kind of format, again, to post content in, and just like all these kind of important things. And also a content calendar is very important for you, for your own content, but even more important in case you are creating content for someone else. So I at some point improvised myself as well as a social media manager for like a bakery in London, a hairdresser in London, and I think an Indian restaurant as well, which it was at the beginning I was doing it, to be honest, just to make more money because I just wasn't still able to support fully myself on just like the collaboration I was having. This was 2 years ago. I learned a lot. I didn't love it because, again, I wasn't super passionate about creating content for hairdresser. Like, it's fine, but it's not my thing, right? My thing is travel and food. So, of course, doing the bakery side of things, I preferred it much more. But then when you have to, uh, I still didn't have 100% creative freedom because, of course, the owner of the bakery wanted to have a say in the content I was creating. He was also, to be honest, a different generation older, and I felt like he wouldn't really trust me on what I thought I knew was gonna work well. In terms of content, he had his own opinions, so I had to listen to him because it was his business. So again, comes back to the fact that I didn't love it because I was not the boss of myself. I still had someone to report to. So once I was finally able to make this Instagram page, the London one that I have, work full time, I just couldn't be happier because I had obviously total creative freedom all over this. And I can pick the collaboration I want to say yes to. I can say no to the ones I don't want to work with. So yes, there's a lot of freedom. And when it comes to saying no to some collaboration, sometimes this brings me to our last session together, which will be ethics and sustainability on social media for travel journalists. Because nowadays, thank God, there is a lot of like sensibility when it comes to sustainability as well, especially for traveling. So we will see how to keep up with this trend and try to make the most sustainable and ethics choices possible when traveling, but also sustainability when it comes to your income. So being able to create a page that it will be sustainable throughout the years and can provide, a full-time job for you guys. And pretty much this is it. But of course, we're gonna talk so much. There are gonna be extra contents. For example, all the time throughout my lessons, I provide a lot of like creator tips and the best tips to create, I don't know, engaging content, high performing content. We will look at hooks and visual hooks, text hooks, and like sounds. And I will not teach you how to actually edit videos because I think there's another part of the masters for that, and it would require many hours. But I will still provide like a lot of value by giving you concrete examples and showing you. I will even provide you like a list with very powerful hooks, viral hooks for videos. I will also show you some email templates to be able to land paid collaboration with brands, and how to pitch, for example, tourism boards and how to approach them. Again, which events to attend if you have the possibility to, depends again where you're based. How to connect with others. I will suggest some free communities that you can join in order to make the most of other creators and like help each other, uses each other's resources. As well as I throughout the years I've gathered quite a few contacts for tourism boards. So the people that get in touch with creators and travel journalists and invites them on these trips. Sometimes there are group trips, sometimes it's individual trips. And for example, next month in October, I'm going to China with the tourism boards of Chongqing as a city and the Jinan city, which is in another province. And they were the ones reaching out to me. But, these are all contacts that I still gather and add to my database, and I'm happy to share them with the students of the masters as well. And then lastly, I think it's important we're going to also take a little look on how to take advantage of AI nowadays because it's part of our reality. And if you know how to use it, it can also be very useful. Because of course, now you see crazy things like AI generated travel creators and like especially with AI, I believe that probably travel bloggers and writers and journalists probably are a little bit afraid of like being replaced by AI. But don't forget that we're still a world of humans. People connect with other humans. Users connect with your personal experience and your personality. So you cannot be replaced completely by a robot or AI, but you can learn how to take advantage of it and make your job easier. For example, I'm not gonna lie, I use ChatGPT quite a lot. Sorry, I just need to charge the laptop. I use it a lot for emails because this is also why I don't really need to hire an assistant for now, because the thing that probably is most time consuming for me is replying to email, pitching brands, turning down events that I don't want to attend, or like invites in London or to many pop-ups and stuff. And so, of course, it would be easy to reply, no thanks, I don't want to go. Or like, I don't know, but just I just give an input to ChatGPT, I copy and paste the email that I received. I tell ChatGPT, tell them thank you so much for this invite, but I don't have time to attend, and they make it sound so nice and polite. And plus, English is not my first language, so it's really helpful for me. Also, when I have an idea for a campaign, I just write it down on ChatGPT, and then it helps me sort of like make it sound nicer, make it clearer, and also, write it down in a more organized way with like bullet points or so. So we use it, and it's important to know how to use it for the best of your abilities to make your job easier. And pretty much this is what we're gonna talk about throughout the course. I wanted to touch one more topic because throughout the course, we are not going to have a lot of time to talk about UGC, but I think it's a trend that is growing and it's really important because it generates a lot of opportunities. Does anybody know what UGC is, sort of? If so, can you say yes or no in the chat? UGC stands for user-generated content. Okay. I see all of you are familiar with this. This is amazing. Okay, everyone does. That's amazing. So I do UGC as well sometimes. It's not my main source of income, I would say, but I have a few friends that it's their only thing, it's the main source of income, and it's crazy the amount of money they can make out of it. One of my best friend, she does beauty and makeup, skincare, clothes, a bit of everything. And oh my God, of course, those brands have so much budget and she's so successful. She can film a few videos from her bedroom and make so much money and then use that money to then just go on a trip and fully enjoy the trip without having to create content on the trip. But UGC content can also be done with hotels, tourism boards, and just destinations in general. Airbnbs as well. And basically it's content that you can create, but you don't have to post it. So you create the content and then you give this content to the brand and they will use it for their own promotional purposes. So this means that you don't need to be an influencer. You don't need followers to do this. You just need your phone, because this is everything I use to film content. I have nothing super professional. I only use my phone. I do have a drone, which I never really then take everywhere. I feel like it's I don't know, maybe it was a bit of a waste of money, but maybe for UGC, especially if you do it with like hotels and like destinations, a drone, I'm not gonna lie, can be a very good asset. However, your phone is all you need. And basically, I see that Irene said that she doesn't not fully know what it is. So as I was saying, let's say that um I don't know, you have this water bottle at home and you create a video for it where you say, you share your experience, you say how great it is. It's almost as if you were recommending this to a friend or you were showing it to a friend. And then the brand wants this video that you created so that they can use it as an ad. You know how when you're scrolling on Instagram, sometimes at some point you have like a sort of video that is just an ad and you can click on the link below so that it opens up in the website. Well, that's basic a lot of times the video that you see is user generated. So it's just someone that is using the product and they're just like generating the content for the brand. And the brand will pay you for this. Okay. So brands will send you stuff at home. For example, in the travel industry, the brand Monos Travel, which is a nice brand of suitcases, they basically every single ad that they run on Instagram and their website and social media is user generated content. So it's just like people like me and you, they send us the suitcase at home. They asked us to create a little video and then they will pay you to use that video for their promotional purposes. So you don't need no followers and you still make money out of it. And tourism boards do this as well. Just recently I spoke with the tourism boards for Spain, I think Costa Brava, and they were telling me how I was explaining who is my audience, and they were like, oh, but we don't really care about your followers. We are looking for UGC content. So we would like you to come to Spain. We will pay you for taking some photos, doing some videos, and give us the usage rights for this video. Or we will hire a professional photographer and a professional video maker, and we will want to film you. You have to be in the video doing things, eating the pasta, eating, I don't know, paella and diving into the water. And they will use that videos for the promotional marketing, and I will get paid for being in the video and going there. So, it's not easy, but it's another way to make money and do travel and create content that doesn't fully require you to be an influencer as well and have followers. This is really good if you love editing videos and you're creative. And even here, you can use ChatGPT to brainstorm some ideas. And the way to get started on UGC content, in case you're interested, my personal advice is to start picking maybe some travel. If you want to do travel as a niche, to pick some travel related items that you already have in the house, or whenever you're going to travel next, if you're going to go to a hotel soon, doesn't have to be a fancy hotel, it can be any hotel. Try to create some content of you using a specific product or you in a specific hotel, and then try to put together a little video or take some good photos that you think the hotel can use, and then give them to the hotel for free. Be like, hey, while I was in your hotel and you are a paying guest, I took this nice photo, I took this little video, and I think, maybe you guys want to use it for your social media. And you will do that for free. And then at the beginning, at least it will help you build like a little portfolio. Maybe the hotel will say no. But if they say yes and they use your photo or your video on their social media, you can use that as an example for the next brand to pitch and be like, look, I created this UGC content for this hotel or for this travel battle. I would like to do the same for you in exchange for one night for free in your hotel. So at the beginning, of course, don't expect to make a lot of money from this, but you could start getting a lot of free things. And then slowly, as you build a little portfolio and more content, then, you could also start charging money for it. So I just want to pretty much, this is what UGC is. And the reason why brands prefer this kind of content instead of paying a very expensive creative agency to film a super perfect and like polished campaign is just because people don't really relate with it. Whereas people relate with more authentic content and relatable content created by regular people that are users of this specific product or guests at this specific hotel, right? And for them, it's also much easier. much cheaper, as I was saying, to pay you maybe, I don't know, 400. We will also take a look on how much you can charge for a UGC video, for example, during the master. And it's cheaper for them to pay you to create a couple of these videos than hiring a full team of a creative agency. So you see, it's a win-win for everyone. So Aji's saying, love the idea. It happened to me in Mexico. They sent my video and they upgraded my house. See, it's amazing. So it creates a lot of opportunities. And I think it's very important at the beginning to approach it as a humble mindset of doing some things for free where you don't expect to make money, but just do it so that you can start creating a little bit of portfolio that then you can pitch brands with and start making money out of it. Okay, guys, pretty much this is everything. I don't want to obviously give away more because there's so much we're going to learn throughout the masters, but I hope this was sort of a good introduction of what my class is going to be about. I obviously throughout the classes, I'm open for you guys to contribute to the class, ask questions throughout the class so we can open a discussion as well. We will all get to sort of know each other, and pretty much this is it. So I wanted to, because we have 10 more minutes or so for questions and stuff, I wanted to know if you want to share. You can either talk with your you can unmute your microphone and talk, or you can write in the chat. I wanted to know, pretty much what is your relationship with social media? How active are you? What's your favorite platform? So which one is your favorite social media? If you already post content with the goal of making a living out of it, or if you just post for yourself, and if you already have a sort of like personal brand. And I'm just curious to see, because everybody will probably be at different points in life when it comes to social media, but I want to assure everyone that this is a course that I think it's applicable for everyone, whether you never really are an expert on social media or if you already are started, and you can always learn something, even if you're already like a professional content creator. You can always learn something. Let me see some of the questions. What can we already do to start a social media account? Because I have none. That's up to you. So you can either wait to attend the course to sort of have more information. And for example, when it comes to the class where we're going to talk about brand personalities, you could start your social media account after that so that you have, some more inputs on what username to choose and your bio, these sort of things. Or you can start one already if you want. If you are already able to choose the platform that you think is right for yourself. So maybe you can wait until half the course and then get started, because I think there will be some valuable information that can help you decide what's best for you. To reply to Julianne, do you think it's necessary to have a blog in addition to social media? So personally, I don't have a blog. I really wanted one at the beginning, just because because I read blogs, I really wanted to have one. It just sounded really cool as an idea. The truth is that it's very time consuming. Another truth is that I might be good at editing videos. I'm not so good at writing, guys. So I just didn't want to do something that didn't feel super authentic, especially maybe even in English. I just realized that I remember creating a website that was supposed to be a travel blog, and then realized that I didn't have the time and the passion enough to dedicate myself to that. I gave priority to social media also because it's what at the end of the day was bringing me the money and the means to pay rent and everything. But if you are obviously more in the writing side of things, I know a lot of actual bloggers that they make good money with travel blogs and with like affiliate links, and we're going to see all of that. And, they are just so passionate about having the blog and writing that, yeah, in that case, yes. But in total transparency, I don't think it's necessary to have a blog in addition to social media. I post for myself on Instagram, but I have trouble with visibility. I don't know why. Okay, fair enough. I think this course then will be super helpful for you because we're going to talk about visibility and, tips to make engaging content and also simple things like settings of your account and, a friendly, not friendly, like a username that it's appealing. And because people maybe tend to follow more people, even maybe for just their username, like, okay, London Ultimate Guide. I'm going to London soon. I might need to follow this page because I'm sure I can find some really valuable information. Um, what is the name of your social media? So is London Ultimate Guide the main one. I also have another one called Serena Travel Diaries. I wish I could give it more time. I just don't have the time to do it now. Okay. Christina says, I already create some travel content on my Instagram, but I haven't monetized it yet. I would like to do this. I'm interested in UGC as well, but would like to learn more about this opportunity. Yeah, there is a lot of you're gonna learn a lot here. And of course, I just want to say, guys, there's not like magic formula. It's not gonna happen like overnight to become like a successful content creator and make money out of it. You have to be consistent and patient, but it can happen. Like, I'm not special. So if I can do it, everybody can do it if you're passionate and if you're willing to put the work in that you need to do it. And then of course UGC could be a great way at the beginning to get started where you could like practice creating content and these sort of things without needing the followers. Instagram profile to create new content or use the one I have. So to be honest, Cecilia or Cecilia, if you're Italian, I I I recommend I would if it was me, I already had a personal page before starting my London page, but I wanted to keep that one for myself, and have continue. I still post in my personal private page about all my trips for my friends, my family, and myself. Also, maybe this is not the case for you guys, but I was also a little bit like shy at the beginning and like self-conscious about the idea of creating content and speaking in English and I having friends and family they were following me almost as if I had a bit of a fear of failure and to be judged because I was doing something different and that might appear a little bit cringe at the beginning when you don't have the followers. So starting a secondary page, which I didn't even tell my friends and family at the beginning, just allow me to be more confident and just be just like do whatever I wanted. I gotta say that at the beginning, I was not showing my face. It was a faceless account. But then, on the advice of a friend that was in the social media industry, she told me, righteously so, that your face is so important because people want to relate with you. They feel safer when there is a face that they know to sort of like connect the kind of uh, content that you're creating. So if you want to start a new account, I suggest that you do so and you keep the one you already have for yourself. Okay. I hope I replied to everyone.
Yes, I think yes, Serena.
Okay.